Sunday, I'm going to post an update on the announcements page that's going to let you know what's up and coming and what should have been due, okay? If I change anything on the syllabus, this is where I'm going to let you know. I'll make the correction in the syllabus with red, and then I'll make a post about it on this page at the time that I make that change, okay? So there will be a weekly announcement, but as you can see, there'll probably be, anytime I want to tell you anything else, a post on this board. Any questions about the announcements? Okay, moving on to this next tab here. This is Dropbox. Dropbox is where you're going to submit all of your finalized work. This is just for major papers and assignments, okay? So your first major paper is this analysis paper. Right underneath it, I have a short blurb from the instruction section under the assignments to let you know that you're submitting the right paper. You're just going to click this link that says analysis paper. It's going to go into this window right here. And under the rubric, it shows you exactly how I divvy up all the points for this particular assignment. When I grade your paper, I'm going to leave general feedback in the rubric right here. And I'm also going to drop comments into your paper. All right. So you can pull up your paper that you submitted, and there's going to be little blue word bubbles all over it. And that's going to be my in-text comments. And then the big comments are going to be here in the rubric. All right. When you submit, I don't want you to write your submission, and I don't want you to put it in the comments. If you do either of these, it's going to lose the format. Academic papers have a specific format, size margins, types of spacing, and if you put it in either of these, it's going to lose that format. What you're going to do is you're going to click Browse My Computer, and you're going to upload your paper. You can submit a docx, or a PDF, okay? So make sure when you save it, it has that after the file, or else it won't work with our software. I have a type of software that helps me detect anything that's from an outside source, and it also lets me know if you've submitted this paper to Lincoln Land before, okay, or if anybody has submitted it. So if you're using another friend's paper, not that I think any of you guys would do that, it is going to tell me if it's been submitted to our database. If you want to revise a paper you've already written for your research paper, I'm comfortable with that. You just have to let me know ahead of time and send me the original copy that you'll be revising, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so Dropbox is just where you submit all your major assignments. The course calendar is the next tab I'm going to be discussing. This is where all of your due dates are, okay? So anything that's due is going to be on this course calendar. It's also going to have the links for our meetings on here. And you might see something a little different with the dates if you're in 09, but it should look something like this. On this side, I just put the week numbers so you can kind of match up this calendar with what you have on your course calendar in the syllabus, okay? So anything that's due is on here. This is the most up-to-date due date. Sometimes I have to move things around depending on how fast the class is going or if we need to focus on something a little more. So just know that whatever's here is the most up-to-date information. I also put the institutional days in here. So yesterday was the last day to drop a class for a refund, and all of those other institutional days are throughout this course calendar. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving on. Syllabus. This is just a PDF copy of the syllabus. Excuse me. I'm going to go over a brief PowerPoint after I go through all of these tabs. It's under the PowerPoints tab that kind of summarizes what's going on in the syllabus, but this is kind of like the concrete sort of contract I have with the class. It has all of my policies, all of the information you need to know is on this PDF. If you want to print it out, it might be a good idea. All right. Assignments. Any questions about anything so far? Feeling comfortable?
I had a question really quick, if you don't mind.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so just going back to the course calendar, so like for my class, I think it's saying that on the second that just means that that's when those discussion boards are due, like those are the due dates for the discussion boards?
Yes, it's due by midnight on the 2nd, both of them. Okay. And
Okay.
when we get to the discussion tabs, I'll talk about it just a little bit more. All right.
Okay. And then also for the journals,
Mhm.
are there like due dates listed for those on the calendar or?
Yeah, there should be. Oh, I guess this one doesn't have one. Does anybody see? Hold on one second. Let me see if it's on my instructor one. Because the first journal should be due this Sunday at midnight.
Okay.
Let me check on my end of it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I didn't realize.
Yeah, no problem. I just always
See,
that
on my end, it's
page and
on there. So you
yeah,
guys don't see this?
no, I don't see anything that says journal.
Okay, I'll have to contact somebody and see what they say. I'll probably push the extension date, or I'll extend the due date a little bit just to compensate for it. But
Okay.
um, yeah, it should be due this Sunday, and journals are generally due on Sundays. They're not due every week, so weeks that you have like major assignments due, you usually don't have a journal due. But I'll
Oh,
talk about the journal a little bit more in a minute, okay?
okay, thank you. All
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will fix it.
right.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, what was I on? Oh, the assignments. Okay, so there's a PDF copy for all of the instructions for the assignments throughout the semester. I like to put everything up front. I remember when I was a student, I didn't like getting like a surprise paper at the end of the semester that was 10 pages. So, as an instructor, I just like to put everything up. I'll return to the student. There's some secret stuff on my teacher one you guys can't see. Okay, so it should look like this on your page. So the journals and the discussion boards we're doing throughout the semester, under these PDF, it has the word count for each of these and some basic instructions on how to complete these tasks. So when you have some time, just make sure you definitely read both of these instructions, okay? The analysis paper is our first major paper. It has the rubric in there, and I'm going to talk about this at our next lecture. Okay, I'm going to go over the analysis paper and talk about the story that it's going to cover. One thing I do want you to look at, well, two things actually, I want you to look at this week. The first one is the topic proposal, and the second one is the research paper. This assignment correlates with this assignment, okay? They're interconnected. So the research paper acts as your final in this class. It's 7 to 10 pages and it's due Wednesday, the week of finals. Um, I want you to be thinking about the research paper throughout the entire semester. So I want you to start kind of early on this. I do allow people to propose their own topic in the topic proposal. So if you read the prompts and you think you don't like any of those, this topic proposal assignment is your opportunity to propose your own. Even if you're choosing one of the prompts, though, you have to complete this assignment. The topic proposal the topic proposal assignment is due by week 9. So I'm telling you about it right now, and you have 9 weeks to complete it. It's only one page, it's informal, it could be in first person, but you need to tell me whether you're going to do APA or MLA for your topic if you're choosing your own, okay? The sciences are generally APA style, and the liberal arts are generally MLA style, okay? I will probably let you write about whatever you want. Um, but sometimes there's topics that I don't think there's a lot of research or information about. So I might redirect your topic a little bit, but usually I let people discuss whatever they want in their paper. Excuse me. Um, Here's the catch with the topic proposal assignment, though. It's due by the end of week 9, or it's due in week 9. But if you turn it in for late credit, you cannot propose your own topic. Okay, so you have until week 9 to propose your own topic. But if you turn this in late, you are restricted to the prompts that I gave you. Everybody comfortable with that? Okay, so sometime this week, just hop into this research paper, review the prompts, review the instructions, and start thinking about what you want to do because you don't want to leave this to the last minute. I think we got about 4 weeks. We're going to be workshopping it in class, but really you want to be thinking about it all semester. All right. So all of the assignments up front, I won't add anything to this. Okay. Okay. Reading assignments. As I was telling Dakota at the beginning of class, uh, there are further readings in the textbook. So if you're reviewing one of our lectures and you think, I just don't get it, I don't understand it, if you go to the course calendar section at the end of the syllabus, there are page numbers that correlate to the textbook that are further reading. Any reading assignments we need outside of class are right here under this tab. The first thing we're going to be reading is this Vindication of the Rights of Woman. There's several sections to it. You're just reading the introduction, okay? So there's one section that says intro. It's a little ways down the page, but that's what you're going to be looking at, okay? You're going to read that and you're going to take the quiz under the quiz section. And we're going to talk about this in just a second. For your analysis paper, we're reading The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And I believe starting next week, the quiz is going to be available for this too. All right. So any reading assignments that are not in your book are right here. PowerPoints. So the weeks that we have lecture, I'm a PowerPoint person. They're all on here. So I am going to go over the intro to composition because this is just kind of a summary of our general class policies. But you're going to need to review the argument lecture on your own. It's very explicit, so really the lectures kind of just enhance and let you ask questions. This might seem a little simplistic this week, but when we get into MLA and formatting and stuff, there's usually a lot of questions. So the benefit of attending lecture is you have the opportunity to ask those questions. I feel like a lot of people who do not attend the MLA or APA lectures are going to struggle with the assignments a lot. So even if you miss some, try to be here for MLA and APA. This next lecture, this next week, is the MLA lecture, and I highly recommend attending. Questions so far? No? Okay. Meeting links. So these Teams meetings, there's going to be a link an hour before class starts under this tab right here, or you can get the link from course calendar at any time. All right. So at 5 p.m. before your class, there should be a link here that will take you to Teams. One-on-one links, I'll probably just email to you. Okay, so if we just have a meeting, just us, I'll send you a link for it in the email. Okay. Discussions. This is how I grade attendance. Okay. You have to do all the discussion board posts for the week. So you don't choose 1.1 or 1.2. You got to do both of them. Okay. If you miss more than 5 discussions, then you will have exhausted your attendance and you will be asked to leave class. You have to keep up with it. You have to participate. Since I'm not making these lectures mandatory, there is a way that I have to track attendance, and this is how I'm doing it. So each week, these discussions should probably be your priority. You're going to do just like these guys did, where you're just going to create a thread, title it whatever you want, write the word count, and then you have to respond to 2 people's threads, okay? So if I was responding to Elizabeth's thread, I would just jump in here, and then I would press reply, and your replies have to be at least 40 words, okay? I know that's not a lot, but I have to put a limit on it because I've had people write 3 words. You have to put some thought into it. So you have to do that for each discussion board post. Some weeks there are not discussions. So weeks that we're posting our outlines or peer reviewing or something like that, there probably won't be one of these, but your post of your outline counts as your discussion for that week. And that will make more sense kind of as we're workshopping in class. Any questions? Okay. So quizzes. There are 5 quizzes throughout the semester and 1 midterm. The quizzes will be posted as we cover the material. We have our first one up here. All of the quizzes are open book, and they're more towards the point of them is more to kind of point you in the direction of what you should be focusing on in the readings. So for a vindication of the rights of women, there are 5 short answer questions, and it's just trying to help you understand what to look for in the argument. I'm going to warn you that a vindication of the rights of women was written in the 1700s, so it is kind of heavy, and this scares a lot of people at first, but this is the hardest thing I think we're going to read all semester. Sleepy Hollow is a very easy read, and after that, there are no more literary readings for this class. Oh, aside from what you have to do for your MLA paper, which is more of an essay than a story. But if you don't understand a vindication of the rights of women, you can Google it, and there's lots of summaries and stuff for you to read because it's been around for a very long time. Okay? Any questions so far? The other quizzes are MLA, APA, Sleepy Hollow, and then there's a quiz at the end where you review your own final paper. So that's what the quizzes are. The midterm will also be under this tab. It's a timed essay. You get 4 hours to write a first-person opinion essay. You're going to integrate one source into it, and it has to be 2 pages. It's not going to cut you off after 4 hours, but you will lose 10% if you can't do it under that time. At midterm, I do offer extra credit that's plus 10% on your midterm. So if you did the extra credit, it would alleviate that time restraint. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions so far? No, feeling good. All right. The journal. So the journal is 100 points out of the 1,000 points for the semester, and all you really got to do is do it. There is a word count that's under the assignments tab, and you can do these at your own pace. So the journals do have due dates, but this is something you're welcome to work ahead on. I've had people already complete all 10 and turn them in and just get it out of the way. These are completion points. They're informal and they can be in first person. You are not restricted to this prompt, okay? This is just to help you, but if you want to write about, you can write about anything you want. I've had people write me fiction pieces. I've had people post poetry, stuff like that. This is a private exchange between the both of us, so nobody else is going to see it, okay? I am a mandated reporter, so if you put anything into these journals that could be that might be something along the lines of you inflicting self-harm or something like that, I'm going to report it and get you the help you need. I've had the issue, so I'm just explaining that up front. I'm going to report anything that I think might help you. I know, awkward, but I'm telling you. Okay, any questions about the journals? Just informal, just to get you writing, just to get the juices flowing. You can write about anything you want. You got a word count under the instructions, and you can work ahead. I'm going to figure out why those due dates aren't showing on Blackboard. I'm going to figure out what's going on with those assignments, and I'm probably going to extend it till Wednesday. All right? Okay. Moving on. Peer review group. So once you move into this page, it doesn't say it on mine, but yours should have content on there. And towards the bottom, you've been assigned to either peer review group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay? So let me exit out of my preview. Yes, Dakota. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. It does not show content on my groups page. It just says groups and then create group, and there is no content to display.
Okay. Does everybody else see group? Did you say you joined this class recently?
Oh, that's fair. I did. I joined, I think, like Tuesday.
Okay, so I will probably have to assign you to a group. Jen and Sean, do you guys see on there where there's a group 1 through 5?
Yeah, when I click peer review group, it comes up with group 5, and then I have all the links for like the group discussion board and that kind of thing.
Okay, so Dakota, you're in 06, right?
I'm in 09.
09. So I'll pop into 09 and I'll assign you to a group. Okay.
Thank you.
And it'll look something like this when you jump in there, Dakota, if it opens up here. And what you're going to do, just to show me that you know how to get into it, is you're going to go to your group discussion board and you're just going to put a short introduction about yourself in there. So kind of like these guys did, they all created this because you guys have the liberty to create threads too. They created this in their group and then they put they created a thread here and they put a short bio on there. So I will assign you to a group and then you're going to jump in and do that. It's not for a grade. I just want to make sure everybody knows how to get in there. So this group is where you're going to be posting your peer reviews. Okay. So the reason I put you in a smaller group is one, because I don't want everybody in the class to have access to your finished paper. Okay. I don't want anybody downloading it or keeping it for themselves. That's your hard work and it belongs to you. Also, I was kind of hoping there'd be some sense of camaraderie between everybody in the group and you would have somebody to rely on in case you couldn't get a hold of me. You guys could talk to each other. So feel free to be friendly and use this page as you see fit. When we get to our first peer review, I'll explain in depth how to upload everything and work on those peer reviews. Okay. Okay. Instructor information. This is just information about me, where I went to school, what I'm all about. I did go to school. I did go to Lincoln Land for quite a long time. I took as many classes as I could out at Lincoln Land because it was very affordable and I had some wonderful instructors. I got my bachelor's in writing and publishing from Benedictine University back when they had an undergrad program. And I got my master's in English with a focus in gender studies from Southern New Hampshire University. I've been teaching for probably about the last 9 years or so. I've been teaching this specific genre of writing. I live here in Springfield, got a husband, I have a 4-month-old. So sorry if I'm a little busy. A couple dogs and a cat. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask me? I do want to clarify that I am the instructor. I'm not a TA. A lot of people make that mistake, but I am the instructor for the course, so I'm the person to talk to if you need something. Resources. Dakota, did you have a question or is that hand up from before?
It's from before, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Okay. So the resources tab. I'm going to be going over MLA next week, or this week now, I guess. But this is a sample paper. It's color-coded and it has all the aspects of professional composition that we're going to be discussing on Tuesday or Wednesday, okay? So when you turn in your MLA paper, all the citations and the paragraphs and the formats should look exactly like this, okay? This is mechanic info. If you've been out of English for a while, there's information about commas, how to represent numbers, how to use semicolons, subtitles, just all of the mechanics that I'm going to be grading on for that section of the rubric is in this PowerPoint. So if you want to go over all of that, it would definitely help. Dakota, did you have a question? Is that still up from last time?
It's still up from last time.
Okay. I don't know how to put it down. Lower hand. I'm just learning this platform too, guys. I've never taught online before. It's not really my vibe usually, but we're all gonna get through this semester together. Okay. These two lectures are just to help you start your paper. I would say the biggest complaint I get from students is I just don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. These are going to help you put that paper together. If you're just absolutely stressing about it, having anxiety, you don't like writing papers, let me know and I'll set up something like this and I'll sit down and help you start writing it. I always tell people if you give me a chance to work with you one-on-one, I can teach you how to write a paper. It's just like I was telling Dakota before the lecture started. English is a very subjective type of thing to teach because everybody has a different background in English, and it's a very time-dependent type of study too. So if you've been out of school for a long time, the rules have changed completely. So I get that we're all at different places with our writing. I would say even within our teaching staff here at Lincoln Land, there's a lot of people who teach English in different ways. So instead of getting frustrated, just talk to me. I'm pretty good at communicating and making sure you get through the semester without without going crazy, because it's a lot, but it is what it is. So any questions about any of this? It's pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so I'm going to go over this PowerPoint. It's under the PowerPoints tab. It's the very first one. I'm going to actually just pull it up from my computer so I don't have to wait for it to download. But if you want to follow along, go ahead and download that now. Probably should have opened this before we started. Give me 1 second, guys. Is this anybody else's first time doing online learning?
I had the summer courses and the end of spring, but outside of that, no.
Yeah, it's a different thing, isn't it? It's weird because I feel like I'm talking to myself. That's the weird thing is like usually when you're looking at a bunch of faces, you know, you can kind of react to, are you confused right now? Do I need to explain this? Because a lot of teaching is reading facial expressions, I think, and I'm missing your faces, guys. Okay, I'm going to mirror this lecture. We're going to go over that. And then if you have any questions, you can hang back. I'll answer anything, get you comfortable with the course. But if not, you're free to live your life. Dakota, thank you for the wonderful compliment. I appreciate you saying that because, like I said, I'm a little insecure online here. Okay. So do you guys all see this composition 2 on my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good, good. Okay, go back to participants here. Come on, you. All right. So these are the course objectives. These are basically put together by the department. These are things they want me to make sure you cover. The only change I've put to it is I do teach MLA and APA. I think I'm one of the only instructors in the writing department that teaches APA, but if you're going into the sciences, you absolutely have to know it. In my experience, people in the sciences are a lot more critical of this type of formal writing than in the arts. So if you're going into nursing, psychology, pre-med, anything like that, APA is important. There are dozens of types of genres and ways to put together citations and works cited pages. And I also want to make sure that you can use the basic format to adapt to those other types of platforms, okay? So in this class, we're doing MLA for our first 2 papers. We're going to be writing an APA paper, and then you can decide for your final paper if you want to do MLA and APA. I know most people are familiar with MLA, but people who get familiar with APA find that it is a little easier than MLA once you get used to it. So for your topic proposal, if you're proposing your own topic, if it's within the realm of the arts or the liberal arts, I'm going to point you in the direction of MLA, but if it's something science related, I'll push you in the direction of APA, okay? Technical considerations. Obviously, you're going to need some sort of Microsoft Word to write papers on. Don't write them on Notepad or anything. Make sure you have an official type of office like that. And you're going to need to be able to download my PowerPoints. A PDF reader is probably important since all of our instructions are PDFs. By the way, I don't mind if you print those off. If you want to print the PDFs, I'm comfortable with that. If you want to keep my PowerPoints for future classes, I'm comfortable with that too. You don't have to ask my permission. You can just keep it. Okay. If I contact you, it will probably be through your Lincoln Land email. Okay. And I'll be emailing you from my Lincoln Land email. I don't give out my phone number just because I did the first semester and I'm never going to do that again. I am very understanding of if it takes me a long time to respond. So don't sit and stress over stuff. Like I said, I'm a very compassionate instructor. I understand if you've been waiting for a response, but I do have a 4-month-old at home. Well, he's not even 4 months yet. He's about to turn 4 months, and I take care of him during the day. So my ability to check my email is very dependent on Everything depends on him. He runs the house. So I'm usually free in the evenings. So if you do want to do one-on-one, evenings work better for me. If you do it in the afternoon, fair warning, I might have my baby somewhere around here. So if you're comfortable with that, I'm comfortable with that, but we'll make it work. A web browser, Mozilla Firefox works best with Teams and Blackboard. So if you're having troubles with Blackboard and stuff, then call IT. They're probably going to push you in the direction of downloading Mozilla Firefox. A web camera is not required, but it does help, especially for doing a one-on-one where I'm helping you with your paper. It would just help if I could see you. Do not feel like you have to be on camera for our lectures. I notice most people turn their cameras off and just listen. I'm totally fine with that. In fact, it kind of helps a little bit because it doesn't slow down my computer as much. So a web camera helps, but it's not absolutely required. Any questions so far? All right. Attendance. Attendance is graded. So it's 100 out of the 1,000 points, and those are going to be from the discussions. Again, your discussions count as your attendance, not these face-to-face lectures, okay? If you fail to complete more than 5 of the discussion posts on time, then you will have to drop the class. If that's the case, I will send you an email, and you will have to call and drop a class yourself, okay? Our lectures, they take place at our usual time. Like I said, if you need to switch to Tuesday or Wednesday, that's fine with me. Just let me know and I can send you the link. For this week and next week, the links for both classes should already be on your course calendar. The reason I did that for these first 2 weeks is just because everybody's kind of figuring things out right now. So I've had a lot of people kind of having to take the other lecture, but for now, they're all the same. For the first 2 hours of class, I'm going to be going over the PowerPoints tab lectures and answering any questions about the material. And sometimes we'll be doing workshopping where we'll start building the paper in class. The last hour of class, I leave open for one-on-one meetings. If you absolutely know you need a meeting, please email me ahead of time, but I'm also comfortable with people just hanging back after class and asking me questions. So that last hour, we won't be lecturing and you're not required to be there, but that's just some time I'm leaving open to help you guys with your papers. Again, those links will be under the course calendar as well as that tab that says meeting links. Here's the catch with the face-to-face stuff though. If your grade drops below a 75%, I will ask you to attend the online classes because the reason it's probably dropped is because you're not getting the information you need and you're not asking the questions in class. So if that's the case, you're going to get an email from me and it's going to basically ask you to start attending classes. And if you fail to attend the classes, then you will be dropped from the class. Or you might fail, and I don't want you to fail. You spent money on this class. I want to get everybody through. And generally, I have a pretty high success rate in this class. The part where people trip up is they just don't keep up, you know? You have to be doing things on time because if you get behind in this class, it can get a little overwhelming, okay? So just make sure you're keeping up, make sure you're communicating with me, and we'll all survive the semester together. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Remote classroom policies. If you're attending, please try to be attentive, especially if you're on your video camera. Don't be taking phone calls or gaming or anything like that. If you got your camera turned off, you could be doing whatever you want. But please don't be a distraction if you are on your camera. Speak respectfully. This is an arguments class, so there is going to be situations where people are voicing their opinions. Even if what they're saying makes you angry, please try to speak respectfully and handle it logically. As you'll see from the argument lecture, we're not quarreling, we're arguing. We're trying to come to the same, to a agreeable conclusion, okay? And sometimes you're not going to change people's minds by being angry, but you can change them by being logical. So I've had issues with this as well before. It's kind of a volatile time in history where people are saying things maybe they don't mean and stuff, but please just don't make me have to intervene. Come prepared. I'm going to be posting all of the lectures on Sundays, so you'll have several days to kind of just look over all the lectures before I go over them. And I would like for you to at least just peruse it, just so you know what we're getting into. So you'll look at this lecture on Sunday and say, oh, It's going to be all formatting. I should be prepared to start understanding how citations work and stuff like that. If you have your webcam on, please be aware of what's happening in the frame of your webcam. If there's anything that might be considered unprofessional or distracting, please remove it. I think the biggest one I've heard people complain about is kids. Somebody was telling me that they had a kid who was in their little undies dancing around behind their parent in the video, which is adorable, but it is distracting. So just if you have your webcam on, be aware. Contacting me. My Lincoln Land email address, I do check it several times a day during the week. The weekends are kind of subjective. Normally I bartend on the weekends, but since all this COVID stuff has been happening, I haven't been working. If for some miracle all the COVID cleans up and I can go back to work, I might be working a second job on the weekend. So I don't guarantee the 24-hour response on the weekend, but on the weekdays I do. Okay? When you're emailing me, make sure you spell Erin and Schaefer correctly. It's E-R-I-N, and there are a million ways to spell Schaefer. Mine is S-C-H-A-F-E-R. I can't tell you how many emails I never got because somebody spelled Schaefer a different way. So make sure when you're contacting me, you're spelling that correctly. There are 4 major writing assignments in the class. I like to tell you the page count up front. I don't set the page count for the semester. The administration requires me to offer so many pages. So there's nothing I can do about cutting anything back, so don't ask. But this is the page count. It gets a little heavier as we go on through the semester, but you'll have a little more time to work on these longer papers, okay? And they make up a large part of your grade for the semester. Not the majority, but a large part. The discussion board posts about your thesis outline and preliminary research, those are not under the discussion board tally, but this 7 assignment tally, okay? So they're still worth 10 points, but they're listed differently in the syllabus, okay? And then we have our 2 larger assignments. The APA essay has an annotated bibliography. I'm going to go over that with you at that time. And then we already talked about the research paper topic proposal, okay? Journals, we talked about this a little bit. Informal writing, you can use first person. I'm grading on word count and grammar, okay? It's graded on timeliness, and it's 10 points each. So this is 100 points for the semester, real easy. Talked about the quizzes and midterm. They're all open books. They'll take various forms. So some of them will be essay, some of them will be true or false. But again, and there's no timer on them. The only one that has a timer is the midterm. So if you start the Vindication of the Rights of Women quiz, you can save your answers and come back to it tomorrow. So don't feel like once you start the quiz, you have to finish it all in one sitting. Aside from the midterm, all the other quizzes you can open up and come back to. Okay? Research paper, I'm going to say this a million times. Please be thinking about it. Please be reading up on it. Deciding what your topic you want to use and start workshopping it using the techniques we develop in class. Are there any questions about this research paper? Okay. Yes.
So I think you said that if we're considering like going into something sciences oriented, you would suggest doing APA. And then if we're thinking about doing something like more liberal arts oriented, MLA?
Right. It's the topic, not so much your career, but the topic that you're writing on. Because generally the sciences, it's a timeliness thing. And when we learn APA format, you'll see that in the in-text citation, you include the year of publication. So if the topic you're choosing is something like medical, like you're talking about diabetes, or you're talking about clinical depression or something like that, I would use APA. But if you're talking about something like in history or something artistic, like you're reviewing a famous artist, that would be MLA.
Okay.
And when you turn in your topic proposal, I'll review it, and sometimes I will ask you to change to APA or MLA based on that topic. Does that make sense?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, no problem. Late work. This is always a big question. There are some things I will take for late credit. All major writing assignments, okay? Your journals I'll take for late credit, and any outlines that we're posting on the discussion board, okay? So when I'm having you post your thesis, claims, and preliminary research, you can turn that in late. However, you cannot turn in discussions late, okay? So if it's 1.2 or 2.1, or those ones that are posted this week, I won't take that for late credit. I will put a little note with each post that can be taken for late credit. All right, so I'll be very clear about that. I won't take peer reviews for late credit because you're working with a partner on that, so you can't put them behind kind of a situation. I don't take quizzes or the midterm for late credit, so if you don't get those done on time, it's just a 0. All right. For the things that I do take for late credit, it's a 10% deduction of the final grade for each week. Okay, so if you turn it in a day late to 7 days late, it's going to be 10% off. If it's 8 days, it's going to be 20%, and so on and so forth in that fashion. All right. Any questions about late assignments? Okay. I do have one extra credit assignment that I'm going to be posting around week 6. It's an extra 10% on your midterm essay. If you get 100% on the essay, then there's going to be an extra credit column that it's going to get dumped into, and it's going to add those points to your gross total, okay? So if you get 100% on the midterm, then I'll just add those extra points to the extra credit column. I have given out extra credit for extra helpful things people have done throughout the semester. So it is something that I do, but there is only one official assignment for extra credit. All right. We talked about your peer review groups. I'm going to work with you guys on that when your analysis paper is due. You're just going to upload the file, and then I'm going to have a checklist for you. This is how easy I make it. I literally have a checklist of everything I grade for MLA format. So it's about 4 pages long, and it goes over format, citations, works cited page. So you can have one to do that for yourself, but then somebody else also going to check the checklist and check your paper for it. So please know that when you do your peer review, it's not just grading the mechanics. There's a checklist and a bit of rhetoric that goes along with it. Okay. Okay. You do need your textbook. For the MLA essay, you need a guide reference with readings, okay? Some people just have the reference. You need the textbook that has the readings in order to complete your MLA essay. So for the MLA essay, if you look, there's several page numbers as prompts. You're going to read an essay and respond to it, okay? And they're pretty interesting. As far as the textbook is concerned, this is where I get my MLA and APA. The only difference is I require us to use signal phrases or attributive tags, however you learn that, but we're going to learn about that in our next lecture. Technically, we're on APA 7, but this textbook has APA 6, so that's what I'm going to be grading on. It just changed editions, but the only differences are really going to be on your references page, okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit with APA. Any questions about the textbook? Oh, if you paid for that key, take it back because I don't use that. It's hard for people to all get on the same page with that type of technology. So if you did pay for the key that goes with your textbook, please return it because I won't be using it. And this is 102, so you probably won't use this textbook for anything else. Again, I will not add anything to the content on Blackboard. Every once in a while, I've been known to take 1 or 2 things away, but that is not very likely. If I do take something away, I will post it on Blackboard. All right. Does anybody have any final questions? Do you feel like you have a good idea about how this course is going to go? Feeling comfortable? That's all I really have for you guys. I want you to go over that arguments lecture independently. It's just the basic functions of argument. It breaks it down. It kind of explains what an argument is and what an argument isn't. It has an example argument in there. I just want you to have a clear definition of what argument is before you go into your first paper. All right. So there's no quiz over it or anything. It's just to help you understand. Okay. Any more questions? Everybody. Oh, yes, Jen.
Sorry, I just had a quick question on the first article that we're supposed to read, The Rights of Women.
Mhm.
We start reading at the introduction, is that correct?
Yes, you only read the introduction. It's a very long essay, but the introduction is a very well written argument. It was written during the Enlightenment period, so it was right during the time of the development of the scientific theory. So before this time, everything was kind of theological. So if something bad happened to you, it's like, it's because God wanted it to happen to you, you know? So during the Enlightenment period, when everything was kind of based in the sciences, Mary Wollstonecraft, who's the actually the mother of Mary Shelley, who you might know as the author of Frankenstein,
Yeah.
Mary Wollstonecraft, she made an argument for the education of women. She kind of basically said, you cannot prove that my intelligence is inferior to yours. She never said anything along the lines of women are superior or equal. She was just making an argument for the chance to try, you know. So that introduction is, I think, a prime example of a well-constructed and balanced argument.
Mhm.
So I want you to look into it and just look for those major elements, the claims that they're making, and things like that.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
that was a little too much. I get
No.
excited. I love that piece. It's just the first time I read it, I was like, she makes a good point.
Yeah, no, that definitely clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else? I know somebody typed something. Okay. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions for me, I'll possibly see you guys all on Tuesday or Wednesday. If you have any further questions, I'm just an email away. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No problem. You have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye.